Jimmy Darts is known for giving away money to people who pass what he calls the kindness test. Now, the kindness test is where he would go up to a random stranger and ask for money. He would say, "Hey, can you help me with $1 or $2 or anything helps? Because I'm kind of facing hard times." And he'll do that. And if they give him money, he'll return that and say, "Hey, I was actually wanting to know if you were kind, and you are kind, so I'm going to give you $500. And sometimes that's 500, sometimes it's 1,000, sometimes it's 10,000, like he recently did with Mr. Beast. And I love what he's doing. I've seen some of his videos, but I didn't know that he was a Christian. And so I want to share some and react to a podcast he was recently on with Graham and Jack of the Iced Coffee Hour, and kind of react to his story because I think you're going to find that it's amazing. By the way, my name is Joe. I am a returning content creator. I have a indoor cycling channel. I started this podcast, Live Bold, or it was Faith and Fitness before, years ago. I'm back. I want to get it back into this space. Anyway, let's react to Jimmy and his interview on the ICE podcast. Let's check it out here.
Yeah. What were you doing before this?
I mean, I've been making videos ever since I was a kid. I was always doing videos, just whatever I could. If it was the baby Jesus in the manger when I was like 6 years old, like.
I also grew up making video stuff in the church, and so I could totally relate. And it's crazy how much I relate to this guy, and that's why I wanted to react to this video.
Playing with him and the Legos or whatever. I was always doing just different videos. And then when I was 17, 18, I kind of started partying a lot. And I didn't really get into drugs or alcohol. That kind of always scared me. But I would
I love that he says that because I grew up in the church and I had this deep conviction about not drinking, not doing drugs, but I did want to be around people and girls and things like that. But let's check this out. I get it. I track with Jimmy for sure.
Just do wild stuff, like, I don't know, make out with a girl, or, I'd get drunk maybe 3-4 times, stuff like this. But
I can count on one hand the amount of times that I've been intoxicated. Totally relatable. Love this guy.
I always love to do crazy stuff, like just run through a wall, or like, I don't know, like Steve-O type stuff.
Really? Wait, have you ran through a wall?
Yeah, I mean, I've done. I used to.
How do you do
that?
Does that hurt?
I used to go to parties and
He wanted attention. He did all this. That's what we do when we don't know God. We want attention. He's going to explain this.
Every time I was at a party, I would start punching myself in the face till I was covered in blood. My nose used to bleed easily, and I'd be covered in blood, and everyone at the party would freak out. And I just loved just adrenaline and hype. I loved hype and adrenaline and all this stuff, right? And I just love crazy stuff. And long story short, when I was 18 years old, I went to this party in Minnesota out in the middle of the woods. It's super cold out there. So
this is an amazing story. You got to hear this.
Fires, bonfires, people hang out in the woods. I go out there with these Jesus socks on. I had like a little Jesus on them from Urban Outfitters, like a little statue on the side. And I'm out there, and I'm just messing around, being stupid, whatever, and jumping over the fire, like showing off, just doing dumb stuff. And on the way home that night, I was like, oh, crap, my socks have holes in them. My parents are going to find out I've been partying. Like, they don't know that I live this lifestyle. Like, they think I'm like this kind of perfect kid.
Now, again, I can completely relate to him because I grew up in the church, and anytime I would do something rebellious, I would be so afraid that my parents were going to find out that I wasn't the perfect kid, because I would go to church with them every Sunday. I would help out, and I did love God. It wasn't that I didn't love God, but I got to the age where I wanted to have some fun and do some different things, and so I could totally relate to not wanting to being afraid of parents and what they were going to think. Let's keep listening.
I was so freaked out. And so I sneak up to my room, and I'm like, if I throw my socks away, my mom does the laundry, she'll know there was a pair missing. I was like, I have to think fast. And I don't know why I thought of it, but I literally take my socks off. I'm like, I wasn't drunk or had any drugs that night, nothing. Just completely clear mind, just didn't.
I like how he clarifies that he wasn't drunk, didn't have any drugs, clear mind. Check this out.
Want her to know I was living that kind of rebellious lifestyle. It's like, Jesus, please help my socks, like heal my socks. I hide them in the back of my underwear.
Jesus, he'll hide my sock. Can you imagine praying over your socks and for that to have come to his mind, like, heal my socks? Trip. Check it out.
Underwear drawer. Go to bed. The next morning I wake up before my mom comes upstairs to do the laundry. Grab the socks, and they're brand new. Same spot I left them. No holes in them.
Jesus healed his socks. That's crazy. He healed his socks. They had holes in them. They have no more holes in them. This is nuts. Check it out.
And I freak out and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like the first thought that came to my mind is I thought God would have been mad at me, wanted me to get caught, wanted me to get in trouble. But as soon as I grabbed those socks, I just felt him speak to me and he's like,
You know what? So many people think that God is going to be mad at them, right? For rebelling. God is going to be mad at them for walking away. God is going to be mad at them for doing something that they shouldn't do, right? And obviously, God doesn't want us to do things that are rebellious and things that are going to hurt us. But I think of the prodigal son, right? And how he left. He wanted his inheritance prematurely. He took off, partied, and the whole time his dad's waiting for him, right? He's waiting for him to come back. And he comes back and his dad is there with open arms. He accepts him back. He wasn't mad at him. They had a party, right? And I think about this, and so many people don't come to Christ. They don't come back to Christ because they feel like God is going to be mad at them. But God loves us, right? And check out his experience here.
actually, Jimmy, I want to be your friend above everything else. Like,
Yes.
I want to be your friend before anything.
wants to be our friend.
And that really impacted me and really changed my life.
It's a radical miracle that happened in his life. And we think, man, this is crazy. Like, can we even believe this, right? And I love that he shares this on a secular podcast, that God healed his socks. And God does some amazing things, and he still can do it. I believe it. I believe that he did that. Like, I've never experienced my socks being healed or anything probably that radical, but he did. And it's amazing to think about. I want him to keep sharing his story.
A few months after that, my entire life, I had horrible scoliosis. So my spine was very crooked. My left leg was this much shorter than my right leg. I used to walk like this. People would make fun of me and stuff. And so after high school, you know, from that soccer experience, it was so radical. My parents were like, Jimmy, if you want to go to Hawaii, we'll pay for your school. You can go out there to this little Christian school for like 6 months.
Hey, and I wonder if that was Wayne Cordero's church, because he mentions a lot of things that lead me to believe that he may have been involved with the Foursquare Church. I don't know, but there's other examples that he gives later where he goes to ministry school in California, and Angela's Temple is there, along with Life Pacific College from Foursquare, and a lot of our Foursquare churches are in in Hawaii. So let's keep listening here.
And I was like, all right, do I do that? Or do I go to UCLA, kind of party and stuff, get into film and video? Like, what do I do? And I was like, Hawaii sounds kind of dope.
Yeah.
So I go to Hawaii, and I'm out there, and basically like a month into the school, this guy comes up to me and he goes, hey, Jimmy, can I pray for your like scoliosis?
Yeah.
I was like, what? Like, pray for me? What are you talking about? He's like, to get healed. And I was like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, I spent my whole life going to doctors, chiropractors, everything, and no one's been able to, like, how are you going to heal my back, you know? And the doctors were going to lengthen my Achilles tendon in my leg, so my legs would be the same length, but it'd be a long surgery.
So he was going to get surgery for his scoliosis. Doctors were going to do it. They were going to find a way. Check this out.
I was going to be in a wheelchair for like 6 months. And anyways, I'm in Hawaii sitting there, and this gentleman, he goes, all right, look, watch this. I want to pray for you. So I sit down in a chair. He holds my legs out like this, and he goes, watch this. In Jesus' name, be healed right now. And my leg starts shaking.
Wow.
It goes straight out to match the length of my other leg. And my back is fully healed. My spine is straight. And that really just changed my life forever. And
That's so cool that God healed him. Not only did he heal his socks, but he healed his back. Now, I got a story about this because when I was younger, and even probably a few years back, my dad, when he was still alive, he would have this guy come in, and God used him to heal and everything. But he would have people sit down, just like he described, just like Jimmy describes here, like all in chairs, and he would have them straighten their legs. And it turned out to be a big hoax. And so when I hear things like this, I'm like, but he actually had scoliosis. This wasn't some random guy coming to collect an offering to just be a show like I experienced when I was a kid. This was a legitimate miracle, and God can do crazy miracles like this. This was amazing. So let's finish this up here.
from that point, I gave my life fully to Jesus. I stopped living for myself, stopped partying, all that stuff. And that's really the motive and the force behind all these videos and everything.
I love that. He goes on to say that, hey, Jesus changed his life, that changed the trajectory of his life, the healing, the miracles, the fact that God loved him, the fact that God wasn't mad at him, the fact that God did miracles to prove to him who he was. I love this, there are radical miracles in the Bible. And I want to show you a little bit, like even Jesus, when he was on the earth, there's a ton of miracles that seemingly on the outset seem impossible, and to non-believers, they probably think they are impossible. But I think of John, and make sure I stay in the frame here. And let me pull this up here. I think of, let me make sure I get this right. John chapter 6, there we go, where Jesus turns water into wine, right? And it says, standing nearby were six, and this was at a wedding, by the way. This was his first miracle. This was the radical miracle. Standing nearby were six stone water jars used for Jewish ceremonial washing. Each could hold 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus told the servants, fill the jars with water. When the jars had been filled, he said, now dip some out and take it to the master of ceremonies. So the servant followed the instructions. And let me move on here. When the master of ceremonies tasted the water, that it was now wine, not knowing where it come from, though of course the servants knew, right? They knew what was going on. They knew it was Jesus, right? He called the bridegroom over. A host always serves the best wine first, he said. Then when everyone has taken a lot to drink, he brings out the less expensive wine, but you have kept the best for now. This is so amazing. This is radical. This is something like Jesus turns water into wine. It was his first miracle. He had not done any miracles, not performed any miracles before this. This was radical, but it really happened. There's people who think it tasted like it, or that it wasn't real wine, or it was legitimate, real wine. And he cared so much about the bride and the groom because they had ran out of wine. And if you could imagine running out of food or drinks at your wedding, how embarrassing that would be. He said, I'm going to save the day. And his mom asked him, right? And he said, he came out and he saved the day because he cared that much about the union and the celebration that was happening that day. And all that to say is that God can do some crazy, cool things, some crazy miracles. And I want you to consider what he can do in your life too. Never forget that Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, forever. He can do something in your life. That's all I got today. Hey, we'll see you on the next one.